Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, maybe, wherever you are. Day 3, and we're starting to walk our way around inside this thought bubble, looking at the different aspects of the self, the different activities of it. And we're going to start with identification and look at that over the next few days. And the reason I wanted to start with this is because it seems to be um, the biggest barrier to participation in this sort of conversation, because what happens is along comes someone like me, blah blah blah. There is no self. Self is an illusion. It's all a misunderstanding. You're not who you think you are. You're not really a separate individual. And these words come into the thought bubble and are heard within there. They're heard within this activity of self that has maybe spent decades trying to be okay, trying to secure itself, trying to like itself, trying to feel normal or settled or at ease. And in come these words, and they're not just meaningless, because they're saying almost they're heard as you don't exist. But we know we exist. There's a sensation of existing. There's a feeling of life, of presence, of awareness, and so that seems wrong. And then not only that, but they're coming in and saying everything that you think you are isn't true, and so it just leaves the self, the activity of the self, scrambling really for, what do I do? Who am I then? How do I know what to do? What do I navigate? What am I? And it's scrambling around within the thought bubble, trying to compute it all, trying to work it all out. And it can't. That can't happen within that. It's not the self doesn't realize itself. The self falls away. The idea of self becomes less and less believable. And so the truth of us, the truth of pure existence and pure life, pure presence, is in those moments when there's nothing veiling that. And it might be, deep immersion in our work, making love, looking at the stars, playing, laughing, just the flowing of movement, of breath, of activity, just the purest space of existence, listening with no filter going on, no veil happening. So that's what this is referring to. In those moments, there isn't an identification with self. There isn't a self to be fixed or to be made better. There isn't a different experience to be had. There's no self-analysis in that moment, and there's no analysis of reality through the camera of the self either. There's just what is. And so we can see there how a conversation coming in at the level of self, like meeting this self activity, they're just not meeting at all. They're like oil and water, or they're like two poles of a magnet, the same poles just repulsing each other, because they can't meet. This conversation about no self can't be heard by a self. So, if in this month there's a feeling of panic even, or resistance, or a rising up, or a worsening of this seeking feeling, this resisting feeling, really natural and normal that that would happen, because the self is confused and is looking for whatever grasp it can have, whatever firm ground it can have. And so really today is about acknowledging this sliding away of this conversation that can't meet itself, and really an invitation to be very still with those moments when there's most resistance and most activity, because that's where it gets really interesting, because we've spent all our time trying to push that away, to do stuff or deny it or whatever, and now we're being invited to just explore it, be still with it, be present to it, and then we're just going to see what happens. But this identification, which we're going to explore a lot over the next few days, it's an identification with something that is ultimately illusory, isn't it? I am Claire, I am this. Whatever that this is can never be me, can't ever be me. It's just a viewpoint, it's just a momentary view from here. It could be 7 billion other views of what Claire is. And we're just going to explore that transience, that insubstantiality, that lack of substance, to see how this fixed belief in a fixed self is ultimately the only cause of any problem ever. So yeah, so we'll see. We'll keep going with this, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.